Welcome to Connecting Suppliers and Buyers, our ongoing conversation series where we create an open dialogue about challenges the pandemic created, success stories, and everything in between. The way we network has changed, so let's figure it out. Let's conversate. What I want you to do is to start out is just introduce yourself a little bit, who you are, and then we'll get into TSRC a little bit after that.
Sure. So my name is Dutch Jones. I'm the executive vice president of the supply room. Um, we are a 65-year-old company, actually 68 now. Started by my grandfather here in Ashland, Virginia, actually as a five and dime shop on the railroad tracks. And then in the mid 80s, my father bought it from him, and now, actually, pretty recently, this past year, my wife technically is our president and CEO. She bought it from my mom. So we're a third generation family owned SWAM business here in the state of Virginia. I've been serving the Commonwealth for every bit of 30 years now, both on the higher education side and the state and public body side. But we're really excited to be here and try the new networking that we're doing here with you guys.
Exactly, yeah. So can you, I mean, I was going to ask you, I had a bunch of questions lined up as far as how long you've been in business and all that, and you did a great job of telling us all that right away. So let's just talk about higher education and working with higher education. Let's just get right into it and just talk
Sure.
about working with higher education. Can you talk about a little bit of the differences that there are with maybe working with VASCUP and higher
Yep.
education and rather than, I guess, the retail world or whatever you want to call it?
Sure. So, I mean, the most challenging but most fun thing for me with dealing with all of the higher eds, and we've actually through the pandemic learned more about it now than ever, and that is uh, each institution runs a little differently, and each institution has like very specific but unique needs. To try to have a one box fits all type of approach when you're servicing the higher education division specifically, it just isn't possible, to be honest with you. At least we haven't found that magic wand. But that also is why I said that it's fun, because it brings these new challenges, and we're fortunate enough to be dynamic enough to move and change our business models and do really fun things to help service them. The most glaring one is when y'all sent everybody home, and we had to set up residential deliveries because you had half the people working from home, half the people not, and the other half coming to the office 3 days a week. So even creating quick ways to help, just kind of, it's really just putting a band-aid on it, because Lord knows I know we hope we'll be back before not long. That's kind of the how we approach working with higher ed. How it, how a higher education institution relates to like our commercial business. So we kind of have taken the approach, and this is relatively COVID related, to be honest with you, that the commercial sector will follow the public schooling systems, higher ed and otherwise. So as soon as students went virtual, K through 12 and higher ed, the commercial sector shut down immediately, pretty much, and just not shut down, made everybody work from home. And then as we started to try to figure out forecasting for when they'd be back, we kind of knew they couldn't, because everybody's still at home teaching their children or trying.
Yeah, trying.
So we follow the public sector school systems in terms of when that commercial business will be back. There's a lot more flexibility in the commercial sector. I mean, we firmly believe that students, learn more appropriately in school. That's controversial. Probably shouldn't say that. Somebody's going to get mad at me. The other half will get mad at me for saying we believe that. And, like I said, as soon as, we get this vaccine out and rates drop and we can have, in-person learning, the commercial sector will follow it. But it's not in any hurry because a lot of commercial business have realized that they can get by and do as much from home. Productivity aside, if there's a 10,000 square foot office, it might not. We don't think it'll ever go back to 10,000 square feet. It's gonna go down to what's a much more manageable number of people in the office forever. And that's just the reality that we're facing today. That was a lot of it, but
Yeah, you said something earlier about like your business model and then the Band-Aid thing. I wanted to go back to that as far as do you think your business model has changed or will change at all in the future, going in the future? And then also, do you have any maybe long-term changes that you got out of this, positive or negative, from
yeah,
all this?
sure. So the model specifically, we've been fortunate. I mean, in our hearts, our business is a service business that's there to provide the products that our customer needs. I don't care what the product is. We're
Right.
we're
Right.
known for office products. However, um, during the pandemic, we've pivoted very quickly to gloves, masks, and those kind of things. Just to give some comparison, it's kind of interesting. uh, Office products and coffee specifically, which were huge parts of our core business, were down close to 50% during the pandemic. Now, that being said, we have a strong janitorial division, and we literally created a new division for PPE that both were up those 25% each to make up for the 50% decline in our core
Right.
business. So while I think the demand for PPE and some specific janitorial products will decrease as people come back, people's behaviors in cleaning will not change. Our emphasis on the health and well-being of our customers going back to work and that kind of thing, I don't see it stopping. You're always going to hit the Purell on your way in and out now, whether there's a pandemic or not. You're
Right.
always gonna, you know, disinfect nightly just because that's the new habit that you have. So those categories specifically have changed our business, and I think have changed it forever. Just because, as I mentioned, on the office product side, it won't ever go back to 100% like it was, just because I don't believe there's going to be that many people consuming those products in the office anymore.
Right.
So just really the biggest change in our business structure would be the vertical product category divisions that we put emphasis on.
It was interesting that you said we've talked to a couple of people, and it seems like the word that is synonymous with everybody is pivot, and like just their business was this one model, but we had to kind of change to what was needed and what was at the time. So it
Yep.
seems like pivoting equals success.
Yep.
Any other challenges throughout the past year? I mean, personally, as far
Yeah.
as like time management
Staying
with
at home with my wife all the time, kid not
kids
having
at home, yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
much all the ones that everybody's facing. I mean, it's a good call out, Chris. And the way I look at it is, we as a company, and this is what we've directed our sales force and everything. I mean, it was and still is a scary time.
Right.
We are about as empathetic as we can be to everybody's plights and our own customers and our own vendors and everything. Everybody has their own stuff and their own struggles that they've worked with through this pandemic, and we feel like as long as we treat everybody with the same respect and with the same amount of empathy, knowing that they're going through the same stuff we all are, that we'll get out of it together. It's one of the weird things, and I'm sure you've heard about it. It's one of the weird things about the pandemic that's brought everybody closer together.
Mhm.
I like to think that everybody's, or at least trying to, be respectful and understanding of what everybody's going through. It's been really tough as business owners. We've had to make some really difficult decisions, just in terms of financial changes needed and other stuff to ensure that we have a viable business moving forward. That's probably been the most difficult part for myself and my family. My brother's the COO, Yancey Jones, as well. So a lot of long nights and sleepless nights thinking about not only the health and well-being of our employees, because we've been a essential business from day one, is responsible to bring them in. We've got drivers that are touching you guys every day through this pandemic. So the health and well-being, as well as just making sure that, we're there for as many of our employees as possible fiscally, because it's been tough. There's no way around it, and it ain't just us. So that's been the hardest part for me personally, and us as a family and a family business, is really navigating those business waters and making some pretty difficult decisions.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's important to be able to adapt and adjust, and especially with the little ones watching and seeing how you react to these situations too. Yeah. Caroline, you have anything?
I guess I'm curious about like the furniture piece, and with folks kind of, I'm sure new buildings have kind of halted, or, that might be an expense that people are looking to cut around. And so, what do you see kind of going forward in terms of your furniture line and how you're doing that?
Yeah, it's actually a really good call out. So it's been interesting, our furniture division as a whole, because I didn't mention that in the divisions that were down, and honestly, it's because our furniture division wasn't down
really?
through COVID. It was pretty flat, maybe slightly down a little, but what we found is, projects that were being worked on, in terms of conceptually, when you're doing the drawings and picking stuff, while it slowed, it didn't stop. So we continued to work through that. We again changed course from a K-12 perspective and started selling a lot of desk shields and stuff like that, and things that were furniture-driven manufacturers to help schools specifically open up. And then the other thing that started really towards the back half of that last year is like reconfigures. So while this open concept that everybody loved to go to, collaboration, everybody sit together and let's all jam ourselves in a conference room and get stuff done, that obviously went away very, very quickly. But that just created additional need and opportunity for us to service our respective customers with ideas on spacing, barriers, dividers, different things like that. So while it changed the narrative, it didn't change, and product mix, it didn't change or stop our furniture division from pushing forward. While a couple months were rough when they weren't allowing us to install in buildings and things like that in April and May, led to opportunity for us to really pump some furniture out in the back half of the year, because people weren't back, buildings were empty, and we were able to really get some stuff done. So our furniture division, we still feel like, is going to be a really strong growth category for us moving forward, along with the PPE and janitorial category. I kind of look at it as, I haven't talked about office products a lot because, office products are great. They're a commodity product. It is what it is. But these categories that have service components with it, like furniture, like janitorial, like coffee and break room, those are the ones that we're really investing in, because we feel like them specifically are harder to get cannibalized by the Amazons of the world, and the people that are, honestly, Amazon is really thriving, and their model was perfect for the residential side. I mean, you can't tell me there's not a single person out there that hadn't bought 50,000 things from Amazon during the pandemic, us included. So just investing in those service categories, and furniture is definitely one of them, is what we're going to be pushing for moving forward.
That's really interesting. I thought that would have slowed down more. So that's cool to hear, but still pushing forward.
Yeah. So like our transactional furniture business did, people weren't just buying a desk chair, and we do a lot of transactional business. So like that slowed down pretty significantly. And then like the major contract work maybe did. I know some of the major contract furniture dealers are struggling a little bit, but as a company that can handle everything from that chair to that contract work, we've been able to kind of blend it together enough to not feel the hit quite as much.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, enough about the past. Let's talk about the coming up. So it sounds like, what about, I want to know what Ron and Martin are doing. What are they doing?
What are they doing?
Yeah.
Well,
Or actually, I mean, other than that, but like a serious question is like, are you guys have any, is there any events out there that you know of, or anything coming up?
I mean, it's a loaded question. I would tell you probably nothing, but that's a whole other thing. Martin's probably hunting, Ron's doing whatever, but the question is good. And a lot of people have found ways to do virtual networking things like this, whether it's sales meetings and things. And we've found they're relatively well attended because we can get more people to attend rather than trying to have them all in person. It's easy to have a sales meeting when you just turn on your computer for 2 hours
Right.
and you can line up some vendors and have them present. Everybody's kind of finding creative ways. I mean, the main thing that we went to, which it's changing our model, is, the outside sales rep, the Martins and the Rons of the world. I mean, they don't really exist anymore.
Right. Yeah.
You don't go out and talk to your customer in person. You need to find unique and creative ways to communicate with them, whether it's via Zoom, whether it's just calling them on the phone. Basically, everybody has become an inside sales rep to one degree or the other, because that's the only way to connect with your customer base. So I would like to tell you that they're making 20 to 50 calls a day, making sure that everybody's good. How much of that's realistic is up for debate, but their models specifically have changed based on the pandemic.
Yeah. Yeah. Big time. That's a good insight into that for sure. Any projects, anything coming up that you wanted to speak about or get out there, or I don't know.
Yeah. I saw the note you sent. I mean, it's not a project, but as we do slowly come out of the pandemic and even are still in it, one of the more interesting things that we found is how important it is to have trusted partners, both for y'all and for us through this. Yeah. I mean, you can see on CNN and 60 Minutes every day, there's fraud happening everywhere. I know Maryland got taken for millions of dollars for PPE product based on an LLC that just doesn't exist. There has been a lot of misleading information out there. I think everybody and their brother set up a PPE LLC to try to take care of whatever they could. And we've really struggled. And I joke and I say maybe we were late to the game, but I was never comfortable doing that. We purposefully held off, kind of saying we were going to have it next week, and then saying we were going to have it the next week, and then saying we were going to have it the next week, because I didn't feel comfortable. It's not misleading because nobody really knew what was going on with these products, but just not having accurate information to tell you. So, I mean, the people that have been burnt will remember that. And it's important to have trusted partners, whether it's us or whoever your trusted partner is that's actually coming through for you, to lean on them, even if it might be a little bit more expensive, or if you might need to wait another day. For those high demand products, make sure that y'all are using trusted partners through this time. I'm sure JMU has a bazillion stories about that too. It happened to everybody, us included, from a manufacturer side. But
yeah,
that's kind of
good advice.
It's kind of the last little hurrah we've seen, because it's scary when you hear some of the stories about the millions of dollars people are losing because they're trusting the wrong people.
Right. Yeah, they were just trying to. I mean, everybody was just grabbing it, whatever they could get, and just not even really. It wasn't even about trusting. It was just doing it and just
I know,
not even thinking about it, just clicking.
Gotta do it. It's here.
Right.
It's here.
Yeah, we need it. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, Dutch, that's all I have for today. Really, I appreciate your time, Caroline. Did you have anything else that you?
I didn't have anything else.
Yeah.
No, just appreciate you taking the time. Oh wait, I do have one question. How is it working at home with your wife?
Oh.
Poorly. Not great. I mean, I I don't know how anybody can do it. Like
Mm.
I personally couldn't work from home either. I'll tell you a quick story. So my brother has 4 kids, like 8 and under. So I mean, he's not getting anything done.
Yeah.
And the snow day we had last Thursday, he came in and I was here and we got in at like 9 and we're like, oh gosh, we got to send everybody home. So everybody was gone except for Yancey and I and another guy. And I was like, all right, can you give me a ride home? And he was like, what do you mean? I was like, I wasn't going to drive my car. Like, can I get in your truck and take off? And he was like, I'm not going home. I was like, why? He was like, I've got like a conference call and like 3 other things to do. He's like, I'm going home sometime in the afternoon. It'll clear up a little bit by then. But if you think I can go home and get anything you're done, you're crazy. So we ended up working through the damn snowstorm and then moving from there. But yeah, working at home with children and wives.
It's not all it's cracked up to be.
Not enviable.
Tough.
I can
Yeah.
tell you.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I only have
Well,
one.
it's nice
so,
that
yeah.
you have office space that you can get away to.
Yeah, we are lucky in that. You're right. I know.
Yeah.